we're still the first and foremost thing I will always ask when I do stuff and when the company does stuff, what I try to instill at Red Star is, will this improve the customer experience? And will it make the employees' life better? Let those check off, then we move forward. If either one of them are no, then no, we don't. We leave it. Because it's very easy to get caught up in all these systems and processes and spreadsheets and data sheets and points and all this stuff that just deflect. To me, that's just a massive detour. None of that is going to add value to the customer, or very little of it will, because you're eliminating the human element, which what I believe is where the customer sees value, especially in today's world with AI just taking off. There's a lot of opportunity there to go in the wrong direction. And you think, oh, we're expediting everything, we're speeding it up. But at the end of the day, the customer now feels like they're left out in the cold because you don't talk to them anymore. They can't pick up the phone and call and so-and-so answer the phone like they've done for the last 12 years.
Welcome to the Systems Edge. This is a podcast where we talk to C-level executives and professionals about operations. And it's sometimes those conversations that happen behind closed doors or just wouldn't normally be out in the open like this. And that's what makes this show interesting and fun, hopefully. And we appreciate you tuning in today. Today, my guest is Wes Wrenn from Red Star Oil. Wes, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, appreciate you being here today. I really do. Taking a few minutes from the snowstorm you guys got down there and the South, which is so abnormal. We are just talking about that. Yeah. Like a foot of snow or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm going to rest my back today. So enjoy
from
not building anything.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, good. Well, I appreciate you taking a second. So why don't you start off by telling our listeners a little bit about yourself, a little bit about a Red Star if you want to, and what you guys do, and maybe you even get into what a typical day looks like for you.
Okay. Yeah, like you said, my name's Wes Wrenn. I'm with Red Star Oil. We're based out of Raleigh, North Carolina. We're coming up on our 80th year in the business, and we consider ourselves a smaller, I would say mom and pop, if you would, type of fuel company that services anything from brick and mortar to construction companies to municipalities, hospitals, airports, anybody that needs diesel fuel, gasoline, petroleum products delivered to them. So we have a pretty loyal following, and for 80 years, we've never marketed, had very little sales. It's all been word of mouth. So built on a lot of trust, compounding over the years is how Red Star's built its success. So
that's great.
Glad to be a part of them.
Yeah, those family-run businesses can be so awesome. You know, they just good people, solid people in the community, supporting the community, and like you said, I think the biggest factor there is trust at the end of the day. So it's good.
Yeah.
So you're vice president there. What's a typical day look like for you?
Depends on the weather, really. The last typical days have been pretty stressful. Everybody and their brothers calling, wanting to be topped off ahead of the storms. We have to prioritize accordingly. Luckily, we have monitors on 95% of our tanks out in the field, so we can see the inventory level that our customers have. So when they call and say, hey, I need to be topped off, I'm about to run out, we can look on our GPS and verify, no, you have 80%. We're not going to service you just yet. You got 2 weeks worth of fuel in there. So that eases their pain, eases our stress. We're not making an emergency fill up with 1,000 gallons showed up, and then we take 800 back because they lied about their inventory. A lot of people this time, they freak out. Everything hits the fans. It's vital to have control and knowledge at your fingertips in order to eliminate those headaches and the stressful situations. In a normal day, in the springtime, spring, summer, fall, and most winters, it's managing drivers, tank inventory, tank moves, new jobs being set up, customers being set up, ordering the correct amount of miscellaneous products that we need on the shelf, filters, hoses, nozzles, all the things that tend to break or get run over out in the field and need to be replaced. So little things like that keep the ball rolling, keep the business running, keep the customer experience smooth. So
a lot of moving parts. A lot of
Oh, definitely.
logistics, it sounds like.
Yep.
Yeah,
But very
and you
easy.
kind of
Yeah, I was gonna say, fortunately for me, I came from the restaurant business. My family owns restaurants in Greensboro and High Point, and that is probably the hardest as far as moving
yeah,
parts to keep up with. So
yeah.
that experience has helped parlay into having a smoother operation mindset, I guess you could say, in the fuel industry because it is fast paced, it is moving relatively quickly, and there's alarms that go off every day. But knowing how to manage those and understand which is really an alarm and which one's a false call, that's huge. So
Mhm.
that's played
You're directing a lot of traffic, it sounds like, so.
oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys have obviously have some systems in place. I mean, we were talking before the call started, business systems,
Hmm.
and when you mentioned, monitors on 95% of the tanks and things like that, like, you guys must have some
There's a
good
few.
technology in place to help manage it all. What's that look like?
We're actually implementing another one or a new one now, which will capture inventory, billing, dispatching, everything all in one. It's called Cargus, and, that's what we're in the process of putting all of our information into that system. So that'll streamline everything, offer some more continuity with the system as a whole, because right now, yes, we have our monitors and our inventory in one system, and then we dispatch in another system, and then we do this stuff is in our head with these
Yep,
people.
yep.
If those people are on vacation, then it creates a little bit of havoc because but that's the good and the bad. I mean, when the customer calls Red Star, the person that answers the phone is also the person that solves the problem. So that's huge. It's one-stop shop. I mean, there's no one in this company that can't do a little bit of everything. And so with that, we're able to have a much thinner, leaner staff. I mean, if you look at, not to go into too much details, but there are some fuel companies out there that their gallons are the same as us, but they probably have 5 times as many employees.
Cool. Wow,
Yep.
wow. Yeah, you
Lot
run
too many
lean.
systems in place.
Yeah, yeah, you run pretty
So,
lean. But and you mentioned the Cargo system, and I assume that's an industry software that
mhm,
similar companies use like that. I
correct.
guess in manufacturing, you might call it an ERP system. Maybe they call it that in your industry too, enterprise resource
It's like
planning.
80% of an ERP.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah, it'll
yeah,
cover 80, 90% of our stuff.
yeah.
So it'll
And
be nice.
it's interesting you say that because we're in software and we deal with a lot of ERP systems like that, and that's about if you're hitting 80% in
Mhm.
terms of usability out of software like that. You're firing, you might as well
Oh,
call it
yeah.
eight cylinders out of eight cylinders for the most part. So,
Right.
yeah. And you can always build around it or with it and that sort of thing. So that's
Exactly.
pretty cool. Yeah. Well, good for you. How long have you guys had that system in place? You just started
We haven't. It's
implementing
not
it?
even in place now.
Oh,
We're still putting all the data in. Yeah, like
okay.
all the
Yeah.
customer information we're still giving to them, so they're
Yeah.
developing all that now. It should be out and live, I'd say, in a couple months. We
Yeah.
have hourly calls each week to go over stuff because we're designing the platform the way we want it to work for us. I want to make sure
Good. You're
that
customizing it. Nice.
right. I want to make sure that it fits our culture and our culture doesn't change because of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously
Yeah.
the culture that we
Well, that's
have at
great.
Red Stars is what's built the success, the trust, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not in the fuel
Yeah.
business. We're in the trust business. So that's the way I
That's a
look
good
at
way
it.
to put it. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that. It's like you could almost quote that or write a book
Well,
on
feel
that.
free to
Make that the
quote
title.
it if you like. Yeah.
Well, you could write a book on it yourself too.
Yeah.
That's a good title
Sure.
for a book. Right.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah. And I've seen where those systems can take it. We tell people if you're going to go down that path, it's a year to 3 year window to
Hmm.
really get it up, get it adopted, getting your people used to using it. And maybe they
Oh, there
told
will
you all
be.
that.
Oh, yeah. There will be definitely be some pushback. A
Sure.
lot of our
Sure.
employees have been there 20 to 40 years. So
Yeah.
they've always
Yeah.
done it this way.
Yeah.
You can sense it's going to be, but that's normal. You got to take a step
It is.
backwards to take two steps forward.
It is. It
And we
is.
need to
Yeah.
learn how
Yeah.
to grow and scale, like I said, without losing our way. So we'll do it strategically. We're not going
That's
to
good. Yeah.
just throw it all in there at once. You know,
I
we'll
think the
find out
stat
what
is
works, what
32.
doesn't.
Yeah, good for you. I think the stat's 32% of softwares that people like guys are putting in place don't get adopted in the end because they really had that resistance or didn't have a good adoption plan in place. And by
I
you guys
believe it.
taking your time, you guys,
Yeah.
I've already sensed it, but and you having a business background, I'm sure, not in human nature, right? None of us like change. So
Right.
I'm sure it's going to work great for you. And so long term, what's that objective? What's putting this in place gonna? What's your goal with it? Obviously, to streamline even further, bring some automation, some integration. But Is it to grow? Is that part of the plan?
Absolutely, yeah, it's just to grow. The last year, Red Stars really decided that they wanted to grow to that next level.
Mhm.
So that's part of my role here is helping us expand market share in other areas of the state. And we're going to need systems in place to help accommodate that
Sure.
without changing us too much, you know? So we're still the first and foremost thing I will always ask when I do stuff and when the company does stuff, what I try to instill at Red Star is will this improve the customer experience?
Mm,
And will it make the employees' life better? Both of
mm.
those check off, then we move forward. If either
Yeah,
one
I'm
of them are
sure.
no, then no, we don't. We leave it.
Right,
Because it's very easy to get caught
right.
up in all these systems and processes and spreadsheets and data sheets and points and all this stuff that just deflect. To me, that's just a massive detour. None of that is going to add value to the customer, or very little of it will,
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
eliminating the human element, which what I believe is where the customer sees value, especially in today's world with AI just taking off. There's a lot of opportunity there to go in the wrong direction. And you think we're expediting everything, we're speeding it up. But at the end of the day, the customer now feels like they're left out in the cold because you don't talk to them anymore. They can't pick up the phone and call and so answer the phone like they've done for the last 12 years. Now they got to call a hotline and then somebody from India calls them back, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
stuff like that is what we will avoid at all costs.
yeah. Good for you. Good for you. It's it's warming to hear, and then maybe it's too the culture, and in your case, maybe the subculture, right, of the Southern
Hmm.
hospitality kind of coming through what you're saying. My father's from the South. My grandmother, had a
Yeah,
strong Southern accent, so I can appreciate the hospitality. And really, it's kind of at the end of the day, it's a servant's heart kind of that comes out,
exactly.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
And you go to the big cities anywhere in the world, and it's just a little colder. Sub,
A lot colder. I remember when I lived in New York, I'd hold the door for a female and she'd stop. She wouldn't come through the door. She'd wait.
or she didn't understand what you were even doing, right? She's
Yeah,
like, What's going
she
on?
thought I was
Everything
hitting on her
okay?"
because 'cause I'm holding the door. Like, "No, no, no, I'm just letting you come in first." But, yeah, it's the weirdest like, after a while, I became cold because I didn't wanna be the weird guy holding doors for strangers. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, or even
it's
saying
not like
hello.
that.
I know. Yeah, even
No,
saying
no.
hello in New York, people are freaked out,
No, yeah,
like
you're weird. Get away from
yeah,
me. Yeah.
yeah, it's
No,
too
no,
bad.
we can't grow with that mindset. So, and to be honest, that's kind of the way some of these AI systems and some of the other stuff that certain companies are using, that's more of a New York mindset, you know? It takes the personal
So,
aspect out of it.
it may be a good segue into AI. So, how if there's a balance, right, between resisting technology
Mhm.
and actually still needing to keep up in the
Oh, yeah.
marketplace. So, how are you gonna strike that balance, or how are you striking that balance? Is it just
Well, like
filtering
I
through
said,
those 2
just
questions?
pretty much. I mean, everything stems from those. So if you look at the smart tank monitors that we put on our tanks, that's a pretty expensive investment. I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars a month we're spending on monitors. Yes, for tanks. And so we had to ask, does this improve the customer experience? Well, absolutely. Because now we know how much fuel they have. Like I gave the analogy earlier, someone calls, hey, I'm out of fuel. They don't know they're out of fuel. They didn't go stick their tank. You know, they're just
Mhm.
assuming because they haven't seen the truck show up in a while. So their experience is now better because we have eyes on their inventory from 30 minutes to 2 hours away, right? And then our lives are better because now as a dispatcher, we're not sending a truck out to Johnny's shop to fill the tank that's already full, you know? So to me and to us, that's a no-brainer. You can't be in this industry without that. If you are, then you're just guessing. Every day you're going on milk runs and you're coming back full. And then you're taking all these false alarms as legit and you're spinning your wheels. And there's
Yeah.
such thin
Yeah.
margin in this industry already. So when you have
Yeah.
incompetent areas like that, that's huge. I mean, to quantify that is so costly to the bottom line. And then you look back at the end of the year and you're like, wow, we sold this many millions of gallons, but this is all we put to the bottom line. Well, yeah, because you drove around in circles, or dispatch wasn't efficient, or you put the wrong size tank out there. You know, little things like that are vitally important to the success from our standpoint, the success to the bottom line, and vitally important to the customer experience. So, like I said, we're in the trust business. When they hire me or Red Star to be their consultant or their fuel company, they're trusting that we know what we're doing and they can go focus on their business. They're not gonna have to manage their inventory. They're not gonna think, "Oh, I'm out of fuel. Do they know I'm getting low?" And if they call because the hose is busted, the nozzle's leaking, anything like that, we take care of it. It's not, "Oh, well, you can get a new nozzle on Amazon,"
Yeah.
or call the service department. Don't I'm not the right guy. Call the service department, and then they'll put a work order in, and then 3 days later, our tech will show up, and we'll charge you $150, even though you wrote us a check last month for 50,000. That's the mom and pop that we will stick to because it pays, you know?
Yeah. 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 And we're getting less and less of people like you out there and stuff like that. You mentioned
Right, which
ROI
is
too. Yeah. Go ahead.
which is what makes it, I don't wanna say easy to grow, but it is easy to grow because there's so many other companies that have gotten away from that. And not just in this industry, in so many other industries too.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, if you look at big companies, they're trying to figure out how to give the feeling that they're small in their marketing.
Right.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
trying to, like, they actually advertise, "We answer the phone."
Mhm.
Like, they're trying to make it sound small. And then you have
Right.
small companies, especially your startups, they're trying to gain credibility and make it sound like they're big. Like, so because they're trying to almost inject some kind of false trust in the formula in the beginning because they don't have any trust built up. So it's
Mhm.
interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, most of those companies, I would say they are competing on scale. How big are they? How many gallons did they move? I prefer to look at us like we're competing on accountability. So at the end of the day, who's the most accountable fuel company? And if the
Yeah,
first thing that comes to their mouth is Red Star, we've done our job.
that's awesome.
So,
That's awesome. And we're not done yet, but I would have been a great ending to the whole talk today. I just
well,
love
we can
that. But
edit it out and put that. I'm sure
throw that at the end of it.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do that. That's really good. You mentioned, the cost savings. Some of this technology is just
Hmm.
you can't do it without. It just
Right.
brings so much efficiency to you. How do you work a spreadsheet up to kind of what was that process like to make that decision to purchase all these, or did you start out small like with a few of them and you're like, I need to just build on that? Like,
Yeah. Red Star's been
it
doing that
has to be
since before I got
oh,
there. But I
okay.
know all companies in this industry have some sort of monitoring system like that, and they did start small. When I first got into the industry in 2015, not every company was doing that. They didn't want to invest it because it is about 500 to $700 per tank, and some of these tanks might cost $2,000. The tank, the pump, everything. So you're spending a third of that on a little GPS that sits on top. But imagine the trucks that don't come back with fuel on them. They're coming back empty every day. You're doing the most efficient run possible every day. And you can also categorize the tanks based off the GPS location. So you can put the route so it's most efficient with the product and the proximity to the terminal, and it'll draw your actual route. So, I mean, it takes all the guesswork out, and you don't have to bother the customer. Some companies that don't do this, they'll pick up the phone. Hey, Johnny, did y'all use a lot of fuel this week? Because we're going to be out your way on Thursday. We'll top you off if you need us to. And Johnny's like, yeah, we had a pretty normal week. He thinks he's a big guy. He used a lot of fuel. So he says, yeah, we blew through it. We used him flowing through it might be 300 or 400 gallons. And so you show up with 1,000 gallons because you're in your mind, if you blew through it, you use a lot of fuel, it's more than that. And so now you're coming back with 600 or 700 gallons of excess, or you're finding another stop. This is where it gets really bad. You're finding another stop to empty out that truck to another customer who doesn't need the fuel, but you have to empty the truck because the next run has a different product. Say you have 700 gallons of highway left on the truck and your next run is all off road. You're doing all construction sites or gas or landscapers. You don't need that highway, but you have to get rid of it. So what are you going to do? You're going to drive to a bunch of customers on your route back to the terminal or back to the loading facility, and you're just going to splash all of them. And they're going to be annoyed because now they're getting an invoice for 400 gallons and they have a 2,000 gallon tank.
Yeah.
You should be annoyed, right? Because you just spent however many minutes or an hour driving out of the way when all that could have been avoided. The only person that's happy there is the driver who's paid by the hour in most
It
cases.
just you
Some
can't put a
cases they're
price
unhappy.
on what you're describing. You just can't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you can, I guess, but it's so impactful at the end of the
Those
day.
monitors are paid for in the first probably 4 months. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Is there any
And they're good for
technology
5 years.
okay, okay,
Yeah.
and then you just have to pay full bore buy
That's
a new one for each thing.
Well, they might last more than 5 years, but that's
The
typically the lifespan.
amortization table is about 5 years.
Right.
Yeah. Is there any technology you've ever invested in that you say, I'd never do that again? Anything you can think of that comes to mind? Things you've tried?
No, not off the top of my head. I
Okay.
mean, there's a
Okay.
couple. I would say Salesforce was a great CRM that I've worked with in the
Hmm.
past. There's been some
Okay.
other ones that weren't so great. That
Okay. Some CRMs you said, yeah.
yeah,
And what in your business, sounds like you do some sales there too.
hmm
What did you end up settling on in terms of your CRM?
that's what we're going to now. Cargus. We're using Cargus for that.
Cargus has got that built
Yeah.
in.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Good. And
So
what are the things inside of that CRM facet of the Cargus that are most important to you guys in terms of
the
like, is
dashboard
it
for the customer. Yep.
okay?
Being able to see the customer's address, their tank name, their tank size, the product, their volume, how many gallons they have right now, their last 60 days worth of invoices, when they'll need fuel again, their credit history, their credit score, their payment history. All that stuff will be on one page, which is huge. Because then if you need to reach out to them or if they call you, you have access to everything you need right there in front of you. You're
Right.
not
Right.
scrambling through a bunch of different minimizing this screen to go to that screen or shouting down the hall to somebody else in billing to see what their last invoice or what's past due. It's all right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that will
It's
be
funny how
nice.
you say it all be on one page because the CRM I use is called onepagecrm.com. That's
That's
what it is. It's
beautiful. Yeah.
but
That's a lot
it's
harder
really
than
like you
people
said.
think.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is because there's a lot of things to focus on. Yeah, and you
Right.
need it all, like you said, at your fingertips. And then the drivers have that on a mobile ability too.
Correct.
It's part of all integrated. Okay,
Yep.
that's cool. That's really cool.
Like
Good
the
for you
smart
guys.
tank, the monitors that we use, that has nothing to do with Cargus. But Cargus has found a way to accept all that information, put it in their system so that we can tie that to each customer. So that'll be
Sure.
huge.
So prior to Cargus operationally, what did a good day look like then? It was all, I mean, did you have smart tech before you had, I mean, you obviously have had that
Smart
before
tank.
Cargus.
Yeah.
Smart
Yeah.
tank. Yeah.
It would just be a bunch of different Excel sheets. Yep, and handwritten notes and group text.
Okay.
So,
That was,
yeah, which direct to the source, it's efficient, it's clean, it's a straight line, but it's not as clean when you can have it all in one. So one page,
yeah.
like you said.
Amen. Amen.
So we're
Yeah.
not adding
Yes.
a bunch of positions and people that get in the way and deflect. We're still keeping the right people and we're just communicating straight lines between the two. Now, the difference between Cargus and with pre-Cargus is everybody will have the information at the same time, which is
Hmm.
perfect.
That's really
So,
good. Everybody will have the information at the same time.
yeah,
Yeah. There's alignment.
pre-car right now, customer calls and says they're out of fuel or they need fuel or whatever. One person has that, right? Then they have to put in the dispatch for the next day. Still one person has it. Not until that dispatch goes out does the driver now see it. Well, with
Real
Cargus, they'll be able
time.
to put all that in real time. And then anybody in the company can look and see customer A is on dispatch tomorrow for 2,000 gallons.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Because I'm in software and because we build these kind of tools you're describing that I could probably go down this rabbit trail forever with you on this. Like, I'm
mhm.
just intrigued. I just love the
We'll lose
efficiency that you're
viewers.
describing. I know. I just love the efficiency though. I don't know. I'm
I'm
passionate
so
about
big on
efficiency.
efficiency. Yeah.
So yeah, I can tell. I can tell. Like, and you have such a great formula for filtering. It's so simple, right? And I almost think that's worth hammering and going back to like, is it good for the customer and is it good for the
The
employee? And
employee.
if there's a no for either of those, no. And so you could almost anything you're going to adopt in your company, if you filter it through that,
Right.
like I said, you could almost write a whole book on that
And
because
that comes from my parents. That comes from restaurant, the way they operate.
got you.
My mom always says, "You don't get what you expect, you get what you tolerate." It's another good one that and then she always says, "What is this doing for the customer experience? Is it
Yeah, they must
improving?"
have some really successful operation.
Well, you
That's
said
nice.
that what 30% of softwares don't get taken because of pushback. Restaurant business, I think it's 87% or 88% fail in the first year. So,
Yeah,
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 they've done pretty
absolutely.
well. They've beat the odds, that's for sure.
Yeah. Wow,
So,
what a interesting transition from restaurant to gas and oil, and yet the parallels and the overlap. Yeah,
that's so
in the
similar.
macro sense, of course, but even in the micro sense, be able to, be able to serve people, but it's you're serving people at the end of the day. Every
Right.
business does if they look at it that
It's
lens.
hospitality.
Yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah,
one of my favorite books about restaurants is Unreasonable Hospitality. So, and that's so true. So few people go that extra step. And one of the quotes in that book, I'm going to butcher it, but Basically, what he said is people will forget so much about you. They'll forget your name. They'll forget what you were wearing. They'll forget how you spoke. They'll forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
And I
is so
think you
true.
nailed it, by the way, that quote. I think you got it.
But yeah, well,
I
this has
do. I
been
think you got
slow,
it for almost word for word. Pretty good. I
but
mean, at least
but
from
that's
my
so
recollection.
yeah, but that's so true. So you've read the book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, that's so
Yeah.
true. I mean, I look at that in the fuel world, and obviously we have a wide range of customers. I mean, some that buy 500 gallons a week, a month, some that buy 3 million gallons. So I want my goal, and always has been, is for each of them to feel like they're all the same. And customers do give me that feedback. I've had numerous customers say, I feel like I'm your only customer. Little do they know, they're the smallest customer I have, but I've done a good job of making them feel big, and I make the big guys feel big because if you don't, they're gone. They'll find somebody else. But making the small guys and the middle guys and everybody feel valued and just how that book says. So remember how you make them feel.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go out on a limb here and just suggest that I don't think it's because you're trying to make them feel good. I think you're just being you. And I think your company's just being it. It's not, it's just flows naturally. I was having this
Hmm.
conversation with, well, the podcast that I told you before the show that I got to be on for entrepreneurs. And we were talking about this very issue of just like once your heart's in a good place and you have that, we'll go with servant's
Hmm.
heart or
Oh yeah,
hospitality. Whatever you do, it doesn't matter if it's opening the door for somebody or
right.
if you're talking to a homeless person or whether you're talking to a billionaire, like it's gonna come out of you. Like, how can I serve you? And so you guys have just sound like you've done a great job of integrating that into your culture and your company and just who you guys are. So good
That's
for you
what drew
guys.
me to. Yeah, that's what drew me to Red Star. So it's been that way a while. I think for me too, and I can't speak for everyone there, but I know a lot of them feel this way. It's just gratitude. When you start your day with gratitude and you view each customer as a partner and not a customer, and you're thankful for what they bring to you. And my kids say it all the time. When I get a phone call or a text at dinner and I want to answer it, and my son will be like, Dad, answer it. That's how you paid for dinner. He sees the value in these customers. And oh, yeah. And in fact, I've taken my kids many times on a weekend to go replace a pump because customers don't stop. Just because we're not delivering fuel on a Saturday doesn't mean they're not running on Saturday. So there's been so many customers that have had issues occur on a Saturday or Sunday, and I'll throw the tools in the back of the truck if they're not in there already. My son will go with me, and we'll drive an hour and go get up on top of the tank and fix something. By the time we leave, they're up and running, and it was smooth. And so he's seeing the value in customer service, and then those people don't leave you. They just don't.
Right.
You know, I
Right.
mean,
Right.
that's the
Right.
that's the trust business that we're in. It's not the
Yep.
fuel.
Yep. I think there's I think it's Stephen Covey's son wrote a book, something about the speed of trust is slow. So it does
Hmm.
take time. It's not something you can just earn overnight.
Right.
And once you lose it, of course, then it
Oh
takes
yeah.
forever to get it back. So, but
You
that's
can lose
true.
it,
It's
and
just human
you can lose it in
nature.
one phone call.
Yeah. We're kind of talking a lot about human nature here at the end of the day in so many levels.
Right.
Wow. So this has been fantastic. I appreciate your candidness, your heart, your openness to just kind of have just a great conversation about where you're at and Red Star's at, and man, almost
No,
makes me
thank you.
wish I worked for you. You
Well,
guys
we're
have a
growing
great.
rapidly, so we will be hiring very
That's
soon.
awesome.
Do you wanna
Well,
move to the
good.
coast where we have 12 inches of snow? You can
You
come
know
help
that's
me.
true.
You
I'm
can
in
help me with the
Michigan.
next
We'd want
igloo.
to get south, but not to more snow. That's for sure.
Yeah. You may have some tips on how to build it more efficiently.
Yeah, yeah, it could be, could be.
We're using,
Well, once again,
surfboards and skimboards to shovel the snow and then pack it.
do whatever you can.
Those are
Yeah.
bigger than our shovel, so
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, you guys will dig out and it'll be, like you said, might be many years before you have to deal with it again, at
oh,
least.
yeah, definitely. So,
So, well, good. Well,
well, thank
thanks
you.
again for being on a show today. I really appreciate it and wish you the best in Red Star the best. Man, it's been a pleasure today. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Dave. Same to you.